Logan. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Rating Central rating. I'm Tim, and this is Logan. So I went to see this for the first time last night. And I gotta say, I wasn't actually looking forward to seeing this movie, but now that I've seen it, it's actually very, very, very well done. Um, I got to say that it met the rating R. There's no two ways about that. Very, very gruesome, very violent, lots of swearing. It's definitely a rated R film. So, they definitely went for the comic on this one because the comics for Logan, he was the Wolverine. He was very violent. He was very remorseless, very unforgiving, and they really hit it with this movie. Now he is Old Man Logan, which again is a newer comic that's out that I haven't read yet, but he definitely played the role very well. Hugh Jackman has always played Wolverine very well, but you could tell the acting in this was much better than it has been in previous X-Men films. One thing that separates Logan from some of the other Marvel movies that are out there, though, is it's although obviously still built on the Marvel Universe and this kind of stuff, you don't get that superhero feeling from this one. You really get that they're really tying up ends, and it's Logan's final story or the final time we're going to see Hugh Jackman as Logan, for instance. You really get that it's a movie, it's not a superhero movie, and it's a little different feel considering it does obviously star superheroes. There's no gigantic villains. There's no overlining war that's coming like we're seeing with all the other um, Civil Wars and Iron Mans and all this kind of stuff. So, and again, obviously it's by Fox, so it's a different take on some of these superheroes, anyways. But it was refreshing actually to see something that's not built into that universe for a change. And the story is actually very, very good in this. It's a different story altogether than what I was expecting from the trailers, because the trailers didn't really give you much to go on when it came to the storyline of this. All you saw was things like Charles Xavier, and you knew that he was older, and you knew that Wolverine was older, but you didn't really know what was going on, who this girl is, and this kind of stuff. So. Um, it's almost a shame that it's rated R because my kids won't be able to see this, and it's actually a very good movie from a story point of view, from an acting point of view, even from the action standpoints, it's actually very good. It's just because of how gruesome it is and how vulgar it is. I mean, right from word one, you get the sense that this is totally a different movie. So anybody, some people are like, oh, it's rated R, but don't worry about it. No, not in this case. If you have kids, do not take them to see this. Just don't. Just don't do that by any means. I do have to say is it's got a very, very small cast, which is again unusual for one of these kinds of movies. You're used to seeing hundreds of people, or again in the Avengers films we've got a good 10 to 12 main characters. In this, I would say, including the villain or villains, I guess I would say you have maybe five, maybe six, a little bit more towards the end, but you don't really see them for very long. So. Um, it was different. It was a very different kind of superhero Marvel movie, and as I said, it was refreshing to see that it was completely different than anything they've ever done in the series before. Another thing, it was nice that they gave a nod to the original X-Men films. They're still there. They admitted that those happened. That these things existed. That you can see at one point. Um, Hugh Jackman is looking at a picture of Jean Grey, actually, and he still looks like he's remembering her. So it's nice to see that they put those touches in, that those movies did exist, that at least in this universe they did, and this is kind of like finishing up that original trilogy, if you will, or the original four films, or yeah, I guess they crossed over a bit into Days of Future Past and this kind of stuff. But it was nice to see that they didn't cut this part of the universe out, that they really closed it up, which was it was good to see. The movie itself was entertaining. There was no two ways about it. It was good to watch. It was good to sit in the theater and really experience it. Now I got to say, I mean, I wasn't sitting on the edge of my seat, so it wasn't like that kind of action where you're over. emphasizing it, or we're expecting what's coming next, or this kind of stuff. Again, when it comes to the plot, the story itself was actually very, very good, but there isn't a lot to it though. So like once you know the base story, then they just kind of play that same story throughout the entire movie. Which I mean, it's not a bad thing, but they didn't really do much else with it. So I mean, when again it comes to the story, yes, it was good. There just wasn't much there, unfortunately. So, from a story perspective, I have to say that it actually lacked. Even though it's a tough one because the story I felt was actually written very well, and it worked with the characters, it worked with the universe, but it was a very short story, if you will, and they kind of dragged that out throughout this movie. But I mean, otherwise, again, the acting was good. I liked the introduction of these new little stars, and kind of where they're taking that universe. So overall, I would have rated this probably about a 4 out of 5. Not again, it wasn't over the top on anything, but it wasn't. I mean, it was a good movie. There's no two ways about that. Um, by all means. So give me your comments at the bottom because I'm sure some people will disagree with what I'm having to say here or agree with me. But again, I can't stress enough that this is not one of those R-rated movies where it doesn't matter. You can take your kids to it. Don't do that. Very, very gruesome. Very, very bloody. Very, very vulgar. Not something my kids will see for quite a long time. So again, this was Tim at Rating Central, and I hope you enjoyed this. If so, then click on the rest of them that you're seeing there in the window and listen to some more ratings that we got.